Yeah. Yeah. I know they mad for no reason. I'm holding on to change my life. Gotta move fast for a reason. I'm holding on to change my life. HODLing. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. HODLing. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Oh, 700K, I'm selling a Bitcoin. Haters mad, but they listen to this one. More profit coming to my direction. Yeah, you know me, I don't need a mention. I got the remedy, ooh, yeah. They don't just follow me, ooh, yeah. You say allegedly, ooh, yeah. You would subscribe to me, ooh, yeah. Staring at chart, drawing a line. Make a decision, you out of time. HODLing, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. HODLing, I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. See what I'm saying? On-chain revolution. Guns. Phone me.
Welcome back to On-Chain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire crypto ecosystem. What is up, guys? I think it's time to officially talk about the bear market, right? I think it's time to officially talk about, is crypto actually worth it? I think it's time to open up the hard questions, saying, was over the last 12 months actually worth it? Was over the last 12 months, did we gain anything, right? And I keep going back to these questions, and a lot of it's no, right? It's just been like, this has been one of the hardest years for crypto people ever, right? You can either say this, 2022 was rough, 2018 was rough, but honestly, 2025 was probably the hardest, because I guess we all expected for things to be, very similar to how they were prior bull markets, right? We didn't get a bull market that retail was in. We got a bull market that we were out traded by TradFi. I mean, if you just traded NVIDIA this year, you made more money than if you traded Ethereum, like, honestly. And it's one of those things where, Bitcoin now on a red year, technically, right? I mean, I think we're at like 90K this time last year, and now we're sitting at 88,000. So if we end the year this way, we had a negative year. Pretty wild to think about. What happens next year? I guess we can all consider the question, right? In a normal 4-year cycle, which possibly we could be in, it would top in October, like it did, and then 12 months later will be the bottom, while all coins fall 90% from where they are today, while Bitcoin potentially falls 40 to 50% from where it is today. It means Bitcoin at $44,000 could be the actual bottom if this is a normal 4-year cycle, right? Where, it topped out in potentially October 6th. Saying that out loud sucks, because we didn't enjoy any of that. We were all in altcoins. We were trying to find, reasons to, get bullish on some of these meme coins and stuff like that. And none of that never really came. So now it's time to start asking the tough questions. Are we in a bear market? So without further ado, let's get today's show started. Bringing my partner here, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
Wow, that came out really bad. Yagobi, third off throat. But so I guess I'm gonna ask you right off the bat, dude. Are we in a bear market?
I think we're in some sort of a bear market, right? And even if it doesn't last like your typical length of a bear market, I think we're in some sort of a bear market right now. And you can look at some technical analysis to give you confirmation on that. The 50-week SMA is one of those, to where there's been multiple candles that have finished underneath that threshold. And there was one anomaly in 2020 when COVID happened that pushed it below, but I don't really think this is comparable to that. But regardless, it's something that I feel like we're going through right now, and it could be finished here in the next month or two, though. That's the crazy thing about it, right? So I feel like we're definitely in a new type of territory of trying to figure out where we are, and the typical timelines aren't really coming close to what we're used to. So that's what's throwing us off. So I would say yes, we're in at least a short-term bear market.
But like, so I put out a tweet yesterday, and I'm curious. I would love to hear your opinion on this. So, what if 10/6/25 marked the top of the 4-year cycle, and the 4-year cycle is still intact? I did not want to believe it at first, but looking back now, it's increasingly feels possible. If that's the case, the real bottom for risk assets would not arrive until October 2026. Imagine enduring many more months of sideways movement and steady downside before relief. This would have truly been a retail-less cycle. Retail was burned badly in 2021, 2022, and that trust was never rebuilt. Retail never returned in size. It has been mostly crypto natives carrying the market, and now nearly 70% of them have stepped away as well. But what if the 4-year cycle happened, and it's just like normal, except this time didn't have any retail because they all got burned in 2021, because the ease of use of Robinhood, because of NFTs, and they all got hit kind of hard. All their stimulus checks went into this, and it all got taken away from them. And this time around, they're just not entering. How do you feel about potentially we had a normal 4-year cycle?
I don't believe that. I don't believe that, because the way that human psychology works, from my experience of living this long on this earth, is whenever there's a consistent amount of opportunity, then humans will flock to that, right? So every 4-year cycle that I've experienced, at least, even if my experience wasn't as deep in 2017 or 2013, right? There's always that opportunity, right, to get into some sort of different token or coin than Bitcoin, right? And so that just wasn't really the case this year. And I think actually think retail was getting excited in the beginning of the year because the Trump token had launched. Everybody was asking, where can you buy that? And then, like you mentioned before, Coinbase was late to adding that. And then so a lot of retail that bought into that got wrecked really hard. And then they said, okay, well, we'll give that a pass. What's going on with this Libra token or Melania or whatever? And it was wrecked after wrecked after wrecked. And I think that scared the crap out of retail, and saying, whoa, this is completely different. You know what I mean? This is a different experience. And then it just never came to where it was an easy option. And you got to have somewhat of an easy option for retail to have taste of winning. And that just never was the case this year. So I don't believe that we had a typical 4-year cycle. That's not what I saw or experienced.
But like, what if we traded retail for TradFi? We're trading against some of the
What's not typical though.
Yeah. I'm just saying, but retail got burned, so it's not typical for retail to get hit as hard as they did last. Like, I mean, we can all admit retail was a big reason,
but it's
why we had
happened
2021. But but it was just the ease of use last time is kind of what my main point was, of why they got burned so bad.
People are still buying tons on Coinbase in 2017. Like my aunt got into crypto in 2017. A lot of people, even if you take the ICO phase out of it, there was a lot of people that made money on Litecoin, on some of the major tokens during that period, just using Coinbase. And then you go back to 2013, and people were using different platforms to get different tokens. I figured it out in 2013, whenever I just didn't really even cared that much, right? So I think that opportunity of the public seeing, oh wow, like I can mess around with this, I can get in, and then making a little bit of money, and then them, like, however they play it, right? Because there was always an opportunity. It wasn't just like retail came in, bought our bags, and then they died. That wasn't the case. They always had some time to be able to exit if they wanted to, but a lot of them they became bag holders because they didn't know how the cycle worked and all these things. They really believed it was, the future of finance, all these things. That was missing this cycle. That was missing the cycle because there was no opportunity to have any time starting from January 1st all the way to where we are today. And so we did, in a sense, switch out traditional retail with institutions that are really good at trading and really good at entering and exiting positions, and most of them are going to do that with safer coins because that's how they do it in TradFi. And they do get down the risk curve in TradFi, but it didn't really happen over here, and they were fine just making money on blue chips and majors. So
Yeah, 100%. What if Gary Gensler was actually protecting retail investors from manipulation by these big institutions? What if, he was protecting us technically from not letting them in? And now that they're in, we're getting wrecked left and right, because we saw yesterday, Bitcoin went from 87 to 90, immediately back into 87 with 10 o'clock manipulation.
Yeah, I don't believe that he was trying to look out for the greater good necessarily, right? I can't envision that in my head, that he has that type of objective. But I'm sure he's smiling right now, drinking his coffee or whatever he's doing on his couch, looking at the markets and saying, "Oh, you guys, the grass isn't always greener," type of situation, right? And until things change, he's gonna have every right to do that and act like that, but obviously he's been quiet. He's not going to be posting on X or anything necessarily, right? So the one thing I will say is there's probably a lot of retail that says at least he gave us bull markets, right? And this year, and I saw someone post about like, oh, Solana got to $300 and Cardano got to such and such price and Bitcoin got to 126. What do you mean there was no bull run? You have to remember, like, the part that we were talking about just a second ago, euphoria is when retail comes in and tastes the wins a little bit, so that euphoria was missing. It's been a full year of apathy and just people that can go into large size or the leveraged people, right? That made some money early and then eventually got wiped out completely.
Yeah, 100%. And this kind of goes into Charles Hoskinson. He posted this a couple of days ago, but I think it's really interesting.
And if we want retail back, we have to say as an industry, we're sorry. And we have to return to first principles and find a path to actually continue the work that Satoshi started. If we as an industry aren't willing to do that, they won't come back. We don't deserve them. We haven't earned them. And we're going to find out that the original degens of degens, Wall Street, are 10 times worse than anything we've ever done to each other. They'll kill you so fast, and they're so smart, and they're so sophisticated, and they're so capable. And now they know everything about us. And now they have native access to us. They're killers beyond killers. And after they're done sucking all the liquidity and value out of our bodies and dried husks, then they'll sick the regulators on us to make sure that we never come back from the grave, and give themselves a monopoly over every single thing that made this industry special. That's what you want. That's what you get.
I feel like that's just a mic drop moment. Like, I feel like he hit the nail on the head there. Like, I don't agree with a lot what Charles Hoskinson says, but I mean, that's what they're doing. They're sucking every bit of liquidity out of us, whether we're retail or not. You know what I mean? They have.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I think towards the second part of that, he was pretty spot on. But even him didn't see this last year, right? So you have to remember this, okay? So Citadel used to pay Robinhood for data, okay, of activity of traders, how they did. That's how they were able to get away with the free, no fees and stuff, because that's how they make their revenue, majority. They don't have to do that anymore. They can just go on chain and look at behaviors. And so they have all the answers to the behaviors of activity of everybody. They don't need to know if you're male or female. They don't need to know all that stuff necessarily, right? All they need to know is how you're trading, and it's all on chain. Probably why these centralized exchanges are going to be moving on chain as well, because they have the data, like, from a centralized company perspective. But why not put it on chain, so where like they can play against people and be like, well, it's all public data. You know what I mean? It's all public data. So you're not necessarily even going through them anymore. So they have no liability, like you were saying about Coinbase. They want to do this more, right? And it's a little scary, but scary in the sense of what he said at the end, monopolize the entire industry and stuff like that, right? So what's left then if we go down kind of to that type of environment, right? I think you really got to look for value creation of the product itself, the company itself, because that's where you can kind of get some edge back is, okay, we're buying into this because they have extreme value. So you're going back to the rules they created anyways. And it's almost kind of like a forced play to do it. And we're going to take all your money until you guys kind of go play by those rules.
Yeah, or till we quit, right? I mean, I see another post today. Like, this guy, he had 98,000 followers, and he says, "I'm done with crypto. Right? This is not what I signed up for." And it's because they want us to quit. They want us to capitulate. And what's the best way to do that? Well, if you go sideways and down all the way till October, right? If you go sideways and down, and every time that Bitcoin has good news or something happens in crypto, you take the price down, you'll eliminate 90% of the people that are here. I mean, from this point going forward, you could, if you're Wall Street, you could create the bear market that absolutely makes you crazy rich, because once everyone capitulates, that's when you start buying up all the assets, because they can wait. They're patient. They could destroy us right now with a 9 to 10 month bear market.
Yeah, and they're masters at shorting. So they make money each way, right?
Yep.
So they make money on the way down extensively, like or a ton of money, right, on the way down, and then, like you said, buy up the assets when they're cheap, and then make a ton of money on the way up because they're going to be the ones that push it up. So yeah, it's kind of like either these guys are going to quit or they're going to join our game. And sure, if they become good enough at it, they can get a little sliver of success type of situation. But it is what it is. This is where we are in, Bitcoin is at 88.2 December 18th. We got like 13 days left to finish the year of Q4. And what are you going to do? Are you going to be burnt out like that guy that had that many followers? Or are you going to kind of like what Gainsey said this morning, right? Are you going to, I'm not going to say what he said because I don't want to, but it's basically, pick yourself up and move forward. That's what you got to do if you're a survivor. And that's what we're going to do. So
it kind of goes into the main topic of today. Is crypto actually worth it? Will patience and holding finally pay off? This is the first time that I can honestly say, I don't know. If you would have asked me last week, last month, last year, I would have said, hell yeah, crypto, it will pay off. Did I capitulate? I don't know, but I don't know if crypto is worth it anymore.
It's also, you have to remember, like we work in the space too, so it can be draining a bit whenever like you're in this every single day. But the people that show up into the show, you guys feel it too, because you guys are here with us every day. And shout out to you guys for sure. But I think it is worth it because whether there's this new rules to the game or a new system that's being formed, or however they're going to monopolize this, you get to be here and learn the new rules, right? So just like anything, humans can adapt, right? So if you're someone that can adapt, and if you're not good at adapting, you got to learn how to do that, be flexible. But you can learn kind of how this new industry is going to work, right? And then you can start building a network. Imagine if you got into the stock market in the 80s, right? Whenever there was like a huge switch from gold backing the dollar to just kind of the dollar fueling the stock market, right? And then you got in during that time and you started to learn the game, and you started to learn what is being considered valuable, what's not. You started to build your network. You started to know who to call whenever the market was feeling this way or that way. I feel like this is a similar opportunity for that, right? So if you're someone that can get involved or just learn it, right, then you're going to have big opportunities eventually come, but it might take some time. That's the problem. And that's another problem with the way that crypto just is naturally. It's always been, oh, I can make a lot of money in a short period of time when the 4-year cycle comes. That mindset might have to change. It will have to change, I think, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, we're as an industry, we're changing. And you can look and see which projects are still surviving. Why are they surviving? You know, what made them be able to continue? I'm talking mostly to like the startups, you know, the more recent companies, right? Because you know that could have some weight down the line of, okay, are they generating revenue? Is that what it is? That's survival, you know, surviving the bear market or whatever we're going through for 2025. So,
Well, I think we can both agree it's two things: it's revenue or funding, right? Everyone else has completely fallen off or close to falling off. If you don't have funding or you don't have revenue, how can you're not going to make it? And if they do force crypto into this bear market that lasts all the way to October, I think 90%, 99% of the companies that are here without funding, without revenue, are going to be gone. You're going to have, you know, basically you're going to have TradFi on crypto rails, and that's it. That's crypto.
I mean, pretty much, right? But we won't know exactly how it's going to work in terms of value creation, products, except for what we've seen with Web 2, right? So that's the only thing I can go back to and say the value creation will probably look something similar to like Web 2, where there's going to be these companies that are kind of pre-selected, right? Obviously, they have to be really talented, have stuff already going for themselves, but like really large investors pouring into them. This is the winner. This is the Google. This is the Apple, right? This is of this part of the sector. You know, this year, I think 2025 probably is the biggest eye-opening year that our industry should probably say we underestimated TradFi tremendously. Like how much power, how much influence they have over our industry. I think we came in kind of with our chest kind of, you know, out there saying, look, they're coming to us. We have the edge. We know how this stuff works. But if you look back at it, like it's like peanuts of the total TVL of crypto versus what they've been dealing with. Right. And so they can easily come in and injure us or, you know, chop us off at the legs. It's no problem for them. They could have did it last cycle or the cycle before. They could have.
Well,
I'm just
so
saying.
now
Like,
that you have the ETF, you can short the ETF. It's a lot easier now than it was then.
I mean, they could have did it like by just buying a ton of Bitcoin and then dumping a ton of Bitcoin. They could do, they have that much kind of power, liquidity wise and capital wise, like if and they're working together type of situation. So that's obviously something that is, you know, we don't have facts on or nothing like that. So my point is that very underestimated. I feel like our space underestimated TradFi and the effects. And one thing too, I'll say is, the leaders of our space, and I'm talking about the founders of the centralized exchanges and the people that they're the top, the 1% of our space, right? They win here too, though. So the only group that really loses is the retail group and the Web3 natives that have been, you know, struggling this year, because CZ, Brian Armstrong, Gemini, all those guys, they were already winning in our space, but we kind of felt like they were advocates, right? And in a sense, they are whenever they're going to DC or whatever, right? But because of who they are and, you know, where their stance is and stuff, this is a win up, like a step up for them. They win here big time, because now it's like the institutions and them, they become a part of the institutions, right? But the rest of Web3 natives and retail, which there's not much of retail here, they're the ones that get like pretty much nothing. They're the ones that are getting like left out in the cold while everybody else gets to win. That's a part of institutions and the top 1%.
Everyone you named though has already won. The
Gemini,
Gemini
but even more,
you know?
so they want that for them. They wanted to take that next level of success. You know what I mean? They've been waiting for this, like for regulations to come in, because they knew how much more success they could even have You know what I mean? Like when you reach that level of success, it's not even necessarily about the dollars.
Yeah.
It's more about the status and the power, right? Like look at CZ. He doesn't need any more money. He's worth $70 billion or whatever they say. Brian Armstrong doesn't need any more money. But what they want is to be in the tech bro group. You know, they want to be in, you know, sitting next to Zuckerberg, sitting next to Elon, you know, in that next level up, right? But
Yeah.
so that's the group that won this year in you know, the post halving year.
Yeah, 100%. We got a bunch of comments here. Shout out to you guys, man. We got Webdro, ASAP Benji. Glasshopper says, I have no choice but to hold most of my alts. You do, man. Like that's the thing is like, when will you capitulate, right? And if it's a 9-month bull market and you're like, damn, I need to find money somewhere, you're gonna sell. Honestly. Stan says, any opinion on the Coinbase system? Yeah, we're gonna get on into all that, Stan. Marcelo Leo, shout out to you, my friend. It's been a while since
Shout
you
out.
hung out with us. Hey GM guys, what's up, buddy? And then we got the great Mo ICP, 24/7 stock perp futures. Yep, Coinbase announced it. Yep, definitely get into all that. But shout out to every single one of you guys, man. Absolutely awesome for you guys to be here with us today. Let's get into some macro stuff here. The US CPI print is in. CPI came in 2.7 versus 3.1. Expected 3. Core CPI is 2.6 versus 3. So we're getting close to, you know, Jerome Powell's number. Jerome Powell wants us between 2 and 2.2. So, you know, this is November. So we're going to get January's here in about 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks. We are heading in the direction that Trump said we are. Trump said that the tariffs are basically just something that is going to affect it for a month or two. One off. Yeah, exactly. And then we're going to get back to being normal. Gas prices here are under $3 for the first time since Trump was president, right? The first time, honestly. We haven't had, when I got gas for the car the other day, it was $2.96. That's very rare here in Pennsylvania. So like I said, first time since probably, I don't know, 2019, 2020, which is crazy. So I'm definitely seeing it. I'm definitely seeing it in the supermarket. And not with fruit though. Fruit is expensive, but everything else, you know, besides fruit and meat, you can get anything else pretty damn cheap right now. I'm seeing it for sure. Then you had White House advisor Hassett says it's appropriate for the Fed to lower interest rates, and we do know if you look over at Polymarket, Hassett is basically winning. It was up here. FedGov. Let me just type it in. Yeah, I don't know, but Hassett is the guy who is winning right now. So he's up 54%.
Are you sharing?
Change
are you sharing
all.
your screen? Because it's just showing black for me.
Yeah. Okay, my bad. Yeah, I forgot I had the other thing up. So yeah, so this barely changed with the CPI data. You know, and Hassett is projected to win right now. So and Hassett's coming out and saying we need to go lower. So what do you think? Do you think we get a rate cut in January? Do you think the bettors? I mean, we have a whole another 35 days, 40
almost
days.
Yeah. You have almost a full month once we get, you know, done with this month, right? I don't know. This is interesting. 71% pretty strong in the other direction. So I would have to probably lean towards that right now, but that could change quickly. But what could change it? You know, because we just got the CPI data. That's not going to change it.
So we'll get more CPI for
in the early.
in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that could if it gets lower than this. You think it could get lower than this?
I think we get close to 50-50 going into the second week of January.
No, I mean the CPI data. You think the it gets lower?
I feel it. I think we get to like 2.4 going into
wow. Yeah, I mean that could change it, right? So got to wait till that data comes out, but you know, usually whenever there's a lock in, I would say, you know, even 3 weeks before the date of like 80% or higher, I'm pretty much like locked in with that. But we're not there yet. So
yeah, we got a long way. We got definitely a long way. I mean, who knows? By the end of this month, we get PCE tomorrow. We get PPI, I think next week, or like the first week, which is PPIs for like October because we missed it so much right now. But we'll see. All right. The Bank of England cut its policy rate by 25 basis points to 3.75. So they're officially with the U.S. They started cutting before the U.S., but they've paused and now officially started cutting again. Some people are talking about they could get down to 3 early next year. So potentially that could be, you know, what the US does as well. The previous line of expectations, they were at 4, now it's 3.75, same as the US.
Yeah. I don't know, but I have a feeling for some reason that, like, you know, we're pretty aligned with them. But like you said, they've been cutting aggressively before us, right? And then they had that long pause in between. Yeah. So I wonder how this is going to affect like global type of impact, right? In terms of crypto.
Mhm.
England's obviously like a big country, big economy and stuff like that. But tomorrow is the date that I'm thinking about, right? So, but a lot of people said that's baked in, right? So maybe we don't have too much to worry about with Japan.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, tomorrow is tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We're getting the Japan rate hike. It's almost 99% on Polymarket, so it's almost guaranteed. But a lot of economists that I listen to, they've come out and they said, you know, nobody's in that trade anymore. Everyone got out last time. The trade no longer was profitable, and the people that are in it, they're in it for the long term, right? So they're not really seeing anything happens. But we need to get past this because you have news outlets like Coin Bureau and these other places coming out, and Cointelegraph as well, coming out and saying, hey, like this is why crypto is going to dump to 70K. And you know, what if crypto doesn't dump at all after this meeting?
It would be a little weird though if you look at the history, you know, because the history has shown every time that they increase rates in Japan, Bitcoin pulls back for a
But
certain
it
period
did
of
go
time.
from 0 to 0.25 to 0.5, right? So it's not like, you know, back then when it happened, it was a shocker. So there's no like, I think everyone kind of in their head, you know, it's kind of baked. The markets are forward looking. So I think a lot of the market
Yeah,
didn't see the
but
original 2 and
when
now are
whenever they make that statement though, they have data to kind of back it up, right? So the data doesn't mean guaranteed. Data means this is why, can mean this is why I'm saying this, right? And so I think that's where people can get lost in the sauce with this, is that like, and look, I mean, historical data has been atrocious for this year. Like it has not played out well at all. So that being said, I think the last time that Japan had a rate cut was at the start of this year in January of 2025. And we saw a pretty bad ending of January of 2025 that month, and a pretty bad beginning of February of this year. So, you know, that was a long time ago. We've gone through a lot of getting beat up in between. So maybe you're right. Maybe, you know, it won't be as intense of a hit.
I wish I could see the Polymarket data going into that meeting. You know what I mean? If that was actually a shocker or not, because I don't remember.
What, the Japan interest rates?
Yeah. If it was 99%, I mean, and then still happened, I'd be like, oh wow, okay. But if it was like, you know, 20-30% and it happened, if it was a shocker or not, I guess my question is. But you gotta remember too, March was a tariff month. April was the bottom of Ethereum. Ethereum hit 1300.
Trump token launched in January.
Yeah,
So that probably didn't help.
for sure. Benjamin Cowen says Bitcoin dominance back to 60. So it's just under 60 right now. But it looks like it is consolidating here, and it has been consolidating since, you know, January, right? Because January was like 58, got up to 69, and then now it's back, it got down to 57, but it's been just consolidating here on the weekly. I can probably jump it to the daily to show a little better. Yes, that's consolidation in my opinion. It's just been kind of sideways up a little bit, sideways down. So it's like rode up, came back down, and then it's more consolidation here. We did get up to, this is that what, okay, October 6th moment. Yeah, October 6th shot up to 64. Pretty nuts. What do you think for Bitcoin dominance? Do you think it's going to continue to go up, or do you think it'll be fall back down here?
I mean, if you look at the top 10 blue chips, I feel like the past couple of days they have kind of bled into Bitcoin a little bit.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
so and that wasn't necessarily the case. Let's say like 2 weeks ago, or even like last month. So I think we got to pay attention to that. We got to see, you know, like what's the pullback. For example, if I look at Solana, you know, it looks like on the month it's down 10%, right? On the week it's down 4%. Now it is pulled back up today, but if you look at the week, it's down 4%. So comparing that to Bitcoin on the week, it's down 2%. So it is bleeding. They are bleeding into Bitcoin a little bit, right? And is this just the start, or is it just something that is happening right now because it's kind of bearish sentiment? We got to pay attention to this, because if dominance starts to shoot up aggressively, then we might, that's one of the signs of a bear market for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And this bear market thing is kind of stuck in my head. I could see Bitcoin if the 4-year cycle is still intact, and October 6th, 2025 was the top of the cycle, and we go into a 12-month bear market, which basically is the bottom October of next year, then Bitcoin dominance could be 80%. Honestly.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. I mean, there's just a lot of weird stuff. Like, there's people still asking questions about October 6th or 10th, whatever date it officially was.
6th was the high, 10th was the crash.
Okay, October 10th. And like, there's no, it's weird. It's like a black swan that doesn't have like an answer, a clear-cut answer, other than, software, market maker software glitch. Like, oh, this is a market maker software glitch. Okay, cool. Like, no, like every other black swan in the past cycles have been like, holy crap, like this person's in big trouble. Like Do Kwon, FTX, 2 in one cycle, right? 17, 18 didn't really have anything horrible. But I'm sure there was some, insolvent
China thing. There was
mining.
They stopped the mining in 2018. They do that every 4 years though. And then it was a big thing was Tether. Tether was in trouble. That was like a.
I think they were under XRP lawsuit too. Their
that was
lawsuit.
2020.
No, I think it started after.
No, it was December 2020. I remember.
They were under scrutiny though. I felt like maybe the official lawsuit started.
Because Brooks, he retired the next day. He stepped down the next day. It was like he put the lawsuit in like the 13th and retired the 14th, or stepped down the 14th. He was the SEC chairman. Gotcha. I remember because I was paying attention every day then, and I remember that storyline.
Gotcha. Okay, so anyways, maybe not so many big events in the 2017 bull run, and then I think 2013 was Mt. Gox situation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so people got in big trouble, and there's people that went to jail. You had people like what's his name, Arthur Hayes. You had people in the past, but like with this October 10th situation, like there's no one being held accountable for it. It was part of the mafia.
It was Binance. Of course, they're not going to be held accountable.
But that's not normal, right? Like whenever there's like a big situation like this. I mean, look at FTX last cycle. You know what I mean? They were big. Their position in the space was getting bigger and bigger, right? Accountability, and I don't know. So I know right now people are trying to look at who's causing this and that and the other. But it kind of doesn't sit right with me, the way that October 10th happened, and there's no one that's going to be held accountable at all for it. It doesn't make sense.
It really doesn't. No, I completely agree. Let's move along though. Some more fun stuff. Coinbase plans to roll equity perps outside the US. So this is a video. I don't know who this guy is, but he's apparently top in Coinbase, but this is over here.
Starting today, you can now access millions of assets through decentralized exchange trading on Coinbase, including on Solana. Accessing the broadest selection of assets used to mean navigating separate wallets, remembering seed phrases, and using complex interfaces. But now you can trade millions of on-chain assets as soon as they're created, all within the Coinbase app, and without waiting for a centralized exchange listing. And it's just as easy to buy long-tail assets as it is to buy Bitcoin, all with the same security and trust that you know and love in Coinbase. So let me show you how it works. I'm in the Coinbase app on the Trade tab, and I can see a trending list of assets. I see Solana assets alongside other crypto assets, and I can even filter by network if I want to just see Solana assets. I can use my existing USDC balance, or I can even buy Solana assets directly with a bank account or a debit card. There are over 16 million tokens and more than $3 trillion of volume on the Solana network alone. And as of today, it's all accessible in the Coinbase app.
So obviously that was the wrong video, but that's still pretty cool.
What was the video supposed to be?
It was supposed to be the perps thing.
Oh,
Coinbase,
well,
and he actually
that was
said
that was good though. That was good, and I was talking about the tech bros. You know what I mean? That reminded me of like the Apple presentations and Zuckerberg with Facebook and introducing like their new products and stuff like that. They have joined that group of people.
Yeah, no, 100%. I want to actually find this video if you don't mind. It just take me a second. But this one was really cool too.
Yeah. So what he just said about, you know, having access to Solana assets in right away, right? So it solves the first problem about trying to list an asset really carefully or quickly. Sorry, I should say, like the Trump asset, right? The Trump token. Now they can just buy it directly, right? Because they have access to that. And it changes definitely our industry, right? So some meme coins actually can get more exposure from regular retail because they can easily have access to it. So that's I guess a good side for that we benefit from that. Now the bad side is like, you know, all the on-chain behavior and stuff but like that. But I think we all can agree that we figured it was going to come to that eventually anyways, right? So
yeah, 100%. Here's the actual video I want to play.
This is a major milestone in our plan to enable 24/7 trading of stocks and ETFs from anywhere in the world, powered by crypto. And that future is closer than you think. Next up, we're launching equity perpetuals, so you can get 24/7 access to trade equities capital efficiently from anywhere.
Why'd they show that guy?
Let's take a look at this.
That's their employees.
Back in the trade tab, where there's a whole section for perpetuals. I can now see contracts for single stocks and indices. And early next year, these contracts will be available to traders on both our simple and advanced trading platform outside the US, enabling trading with up to 20 times leverage. Traders across the world will be able to react instantly to earnings, macro events, and weekend news with one of the most efficient trading instruments created in crypto, now coming to the largest asset class in the world. Markets are evolving in real time, becoming more efficient, always on, and accessible to anyone. As we've done throughout our history, we are updating the system. This is the future, and we're building it now.
So yeah, so now you're going to be able to go to Coinbase, just Coinbase app, and you're going to be able to trade NVIDIA for 20x leverage. Let me ask you this: does more crypto people leave coins to enter NVIDIA?
So that was what I was going to say. Is that, you know, we were like, they're coming to our world. Well, it looks like they're trying to bring us to their world, right? So that's not necessarily a bad thing to learn how to trade some of these companies and stuff and doing it. The difference is just doing it through digital assets, but I mean, it's the same concept, right? Now, I think more than anything is we're going to learn too, like how this changes the TradFi markets from a global perspective, because now globally, like there's going to be more participants, right? Because like Binance is not going to not offer this type of product. You know what I mean? In other exchanges, you know, BitGet and the Bybit, the ones, largest one in Korea, is going to probably offer as well. So now you're going to have East and West kind of have this. It's almost kind of like we might be moving towards like a global stock market type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Because Binance and the East centralized exchanges will put in like the Hong Kong, what was it called, stock exchange, and all of these other companies that are, you know, in different countries. So I think that's where like there's going to be a big change for us. You know, we're going to learn a bit about what's the behaviors of these stocks, right? And also, how does that change like manipulation too? Like, so the SEC actually might have a lot more work now on their desk, because you have to understand, like, manipulation in crypto was so easily done. In the stock market, it's not. If you hold 4 or 5% of a stock, you actually have to get approval to sell it. You have to let the SEC know why you're selling it and how much you're selling before you can do that. In crypto, you just dump 4 or 5% on somebody.
Well, so they trade a thing called futures. It's very similar to perps, right? With futures, you're not actually trading the asset, you're just trading the price of the asset. Very similar to what we do here at perps.
Yeah.
And there were some companies, the firms and stuff like that. You don't have to let the SEC know when you're trading futures.
I'm talking about spot,
Yeah.
like just trading.
Well, you can't
like
buy
shares.
spot here either. This is all perps. Can't buy spot.
Well, I mean,
perps.
eventually that's going to come, I imagine. Like, if they start with doing perpetuals, you know what I mean? Like, because they're still using an oracle to get the price, and it should match with what the global price is, right?
Yeah.
So, what's the rules going to be for that, right? For having to let the SEC know that you're going to make a big move with a large percentage of your holdings, right? With that one stock. And so I don't know exactly what the rules are for that, but I do know that you have to have some sort of notice if you're holding over a certain percentage of one stock, because they don't want you to be able to wreck everybody involved with that company or whatever, right?
I don't think it's that rule for individuals. I think individuals can do whatever they want, but I think companies like Berkshire Hathaway and stuff like that, they have to report it. But I don't know if individuals like Chamath,
regardless, somebody has to, though.
Has to.
You know what I mean? There's a point where you got to do it. If you were an institution or whatever. So, will an institution or a VC or a crypto hedge fund company have to do that? You know what I mean? When they're trading the digital asset version of the stock. So there's going to be a lot of things that, questions and stuff that are going to come into this.
Yeah, we'll see. Moving along here. So SoFi launches a SoFiUSD stablecoin to offer settlement infrastructure for banks and fintechs. Do you think SoFi has any chance here? I get why they're doing this, but when we get to a certain point where these people starting trying to create their own stablecoin and just adopt one that has a lot of liquidity?
When I think there's very little opportunity for them to make revenue off of it, right? Them doing it, because right now it's the earlier days. Yes, you do have the staples, but I think there's still like time for people to establish like yield bearing products. So I think SoFi has a shot here. I think there's going to come a time in the market where the middling is going to be a big part of the business. You know what I mean? Servicing is going to be a big part, like finding the best, like aggregation, but like more of the traditional way of finding the best rates that you can get yield wise. That's going to be a big business. And I don't think we're there yet for the traditional world, right? Not for yield aggregation in Web3. That's already here, but you get what I'm saying, to normies. So
yeah, 100%. I agree. 100%. All right. JPMorgan has migrated its tokenized deposit product, so JPM Coin, from its internal permissioned blockchain called Kinexys to Coinbase's Ethereum L2. It's crazy because I feel like they like capitulated a little bit here, because they wanted to run JPMorgan on their private blockchain that was permissioned. You need permission to access it and stuff like that, to a public blockchain. This is very similar to what Tom Lee was talking about, where institutions, they're going to give in eventually and use public blockchains because of the liquidity and because of the users. What do you think? JPMD, which is a stable coin, which was supposed to power Kinexys or whatever how you say that, it's supposed to be their gas token, is now just being kind of pushed out onto base chain.
I think they were forced to do this because I think they were like, we're big enough. We have like the, big enough brand and name to be able to get away with just centralizing it in-house, not showing all of our everything. But then they probably came to a point to where like, users are like, why are you doing this? Are you trying to hide something? You know what I mean? Like everybody else is using public blockchains. And so, this is just what's coming off the top of my head using logic. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's one of the only things I can think of why they would do this.
Yeah, 100%. And and adoption, right? You're not gonna get adoption. People aren't going to use your coin, right? So so now I think they're going to go from wanting this to be the gas token of this chain to just being their version of USDC, very similar to SoFi USD, right? I think they're saying, hey, we can make money off this, but we're going to have to take it off our own blockchain and actually bridge it over to Ethereum. So I think this is really good for the space. I think Tom Lee might have been right with this. So, but we'll see, because once you're on base, you're easily bridged everywhere else. Arbitrum, Hyperliquid, I mean, pretty much anywhere that is EVM based. So that's really cool to see. Moving along now, World Liberty Financial Community proposes using a portion of the unlocked WLFI treasury as incentives to accelerate USD1 stablecoin adoption. I love this because what I'm hearing, one of the rumors is how they're going to develop this is giving more APY to pairs, meaning if you have a stablecoin and USD1 and it's wrapped with a meme coin like MAGA, for instance, potentially when you're adding liquidity to these two tokens, you're also going to be getting WLFI tokens as incentive, including the trading fees. So not only will you be getting trading fees, you also be getting a portion of this unlocked WLFI token. This could bring real amount of money into these type of, meme coins, for instance, right? That you just lock together.
Yeah, the USD1 campaign, right? If they're really going to push that, this is amazing for them to do this, and it's smart. But not only is it smart for the USD1 campaign, which I think it all works together, but it's smart for WLFI because now you're also going to have WLFI rewards on Solana. You're going to also have it on BSC and what other ecosystems that are going to have this USD1 push. We know that those two definitely have it, right? So they've already announced it. So now you're going to have WLFI tokens in those ecosystems as well. So adoption seems to be the main focus here. Adoption of USD1 and adoption of WLFI. Now that can obviously create like almost kind of like revenue style for, it's LP, right? Like you're earning this type of thing. So, more liquidity to put back into some of these tokens. We'll see if that's the case, right? But I do expect there to be like a strong push for these USD1 pairs because of stuff like this. So if there's not, then I'm going to be disappointed because it was just a big promotion for no reason. But we know that they have a huge objective to really get adoption for USD1. So I'm expecting that whether that's going to take, very late this month, early next month, or maybe going into February, I think USD1 is going to have a big push for their paired tokens.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think so too. I think USD1 is going to be one of the leaders. I mean, it's just you have 3 more years of Trump as president, right? So definitely. XRP spot ETF has logged inflows every single day since launch. Every single day they're creating more XRP shares of that are backed 1-to-1 with XRP itself. XRP is looking like the third winner right now, behind Bitcoin and Ethereum, actually passing Solana.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's the greatest meme coin that's ever happened. I think it's the greatest community coin that's ever been out there. I think that it should be number 3 with Solana in the 4th? No, not at all. Solana is like the number 1 blockchain by usage, all right? By far when it comes to everyday users, right? So I don't know. It is what it is. It's good for crypto. So
I'll tell you what, man. Brad Garlinghouse and the initial team. I know that what's his name left, or kind of when right before things got nasty, but they are up there as like one of the best salesman teams in our space. I think from a professional level too, because these are bankers, ex-bankers, and in that financial world. So they were able to do it and be like a first class, like charlatan or whatever. And then you have like another person like Richard Hart that's good at it as well, but it's a different class. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like Brad Garlinghouse, could you imagine him having like the vest on with his Lamborghini and doing the videos and the Gucci? No, right? So, but what that does, the skill set that he has in his team initially, it sets the foundation, and it created a crazy group of people.
No, 100%. And being around since 2013 definitely helps, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
older than Ethereum.
Yep.
So no matter what you think about it, I think you have to kind of.
And it multiple times popped in the top 5, came back out. People probably like, okay, that died. It's not coming. And then came back. Now it's here to stay. We know that.
100%. 100%. All right, and shout out to the Pump Fun guys, man. Thank you guys over there. Absolutely awesome. You guys are going crazy. So really cool. But getting to our last thing before Bitcoin price action is on this day. Let me share my screen shared. On this day, in about today 2012 or 2013, this man, DXC Doge, he actually created the word HODL. He was drunk, and this was the first time we've ever seen HODL. This is all messed up if you get in here, but I know I'm a bad trader, but I'm just gonna HODL. And this is when Bitcoin was dumping very strong. Actually, on the bottle, it's spelled whiskey. So I don't know but this guy, he made the first Bitcoin meme.
What like when was that? What's the date of that?
It was December 18th, I think 2013.
That's crazy. Yeah, you can see where he misspelled some stuff there. That's so funny. He's like, actually on the bottle it's spelled whiskey, whatever, sue me. But only if it's payable in Bitcoin. That's funny.
And then he puts his Bitcoin address, which I kind of want to look up later. And then his Doge address as well, which I think is pretty funny. But yeah, so this was the first Bitcoin meme, HODL. And it was created by
that's where it came from, man.
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We got a good comment from Mauricio. He says, who the hell uses XRP? It's not even a crypto.
It's a meme coin.
It's a part of the coin market cap list of cryptos. But yeah, I don't think many people are using XRP for any utility or anything like that.
Yeah,
so you got a point there.
100%. But you ready to get into some price action? I'm actually curious to kind of how you're thinking on this market right now.
Let's do it, man. But before we do that, guys, help us out like you always do. Amazing show out on X for sure. Got about 400 people in here. Yeah, so on YouTube, smash that like for us, subscribe to the channel, all that great stuff, and turn your notifications on. On X, keep sharing the space. Let's shoot for 500, 600, 700, 1,000. And then shout out to the Abstract crew over there, and then Pump Fun Streams. You guys are going crazy. Appreciate all the support, and shout out to Pyro as well. We're working with them. Pyro is a company that showcases Pump streamers and gets some attraction to them. So we very thankful of that. And then also to everybody else, Kick, Twitch, Rumble, all that great stuff. Zora as well. Let's take a look here at some price action for Bitcoin. And I always, every single time, start with the hour chart, right? That's where we always kick things off. Whew. Okay, so this is the hour chart. It looks a little bit better than yesterday. As you can see, we were pretty much climbing down. We worked our way up here. Big green candle with just some pullback here, right? Stochastics looks like it wants to head back down, though. We have officially crossed back under the overbought territory of that 80-point mark on stochastics. It looks like it wants to get to the middle here, at least around that 50-point range. We'll see if it wants to creep back down. The MACD also is starting to break down for the buy pressure, right? So, let's see how aggressive this becomes, right? If we start to see this blue fast line on the MACD start to curl downwards, then yeah, expect probably some more some sell pressure to the downside. Also, the stochastic, the fast line as well, if it starts to get past the 20-point mark, which is oversold territory, that probably will align together, right? So that's something to look at. But we were, I think, at 86 yesterday. So this is definitely better than yesterday. But I do still feel like we're doing that pendulum kind of swinging back and forth, maybe just to kind of see what happens tomorrow. Let's see if it's baked in. But as for the rest of today, I am expecting this to, have a continuation of the breakdown. And maybe we chop with a little bit of downside, maybe we get back to 86, but it's not super aggressive yet. So there is still a chance that we kind of range sideways and maybe, you know, don't bleed out too much here, right? And then if you look at support and resistance here as well, you can see that we're going back to about 7 a.m. Eastern here. So the lower volume levels right here, so the bars are squeezed in, it's lower volume. You can see that resistance did pick back up here, but it's just this area that's being dominated by the resistance side. So 87,900 area. Below that's a lot more balanced. Actually, support kicks back in here, then it kind of swings, seesaws back and forth, right? But really not too worried about this. Getting back up to these higher volume areas, you see support dominating actually right here, all the way until we get to right here. So 88.8. So if we can manage to push up here, maybe we actually keep this buy pressure session going. So I'm not too worried about it. It's kind of changing my perspective a little bit here. I wouldn't be shocked if we sideways a little bit and maybe we bounce back up. That would be great, right? If we can get back to like 89, maybe even 90. So something to think about for the rest of today. And then let's go to the 4-hour chart here for Bitcoin. A 4-hour looks great. 4-hour looks great. Almost died, and then it popped back open. So this is a you know, looking pretty good here. Let's see how long we stay up in this range. But yeah, I really like what I'm seeing here. Looks like really good, strong buy pressure for the 4-hour chart. So I like Bitcoin on the 4-hour as well. Let's go to the daily. The daily chart is the daily chart. Okay, so this sometimes kind of worries me a little bit because we came out of the buy pressure session, barely tiptoed into, or dipped our toe, I should say, into sell pressure, and it looks like it was breaking down. Now this could open back up, right? We could have an aggressive push back up. I would love that, especially heading into next week, right? But because we went through like a pretty decently long buy pressure session, whenever I see this, it's kind of like, you know, seesawing back and forth, and eventually it'll switch to the other side. But of course, like anything can happen. I have seen it have an extension of the previous you know, sentiment. So let's hope that happens, and then, you know, we can get back to 90K over the weekend. That would be an amazing thing, in my opinion. But yeah, so that's Bitcoin for you guys. Let's take a look here at some Ethereum. Ethereum's going to have a similar situation here for the hour chart. You can see it is starting to break down a little bit. You know, stochastics also looks like it wants to come down a little bit here, but, you know, really going to play off of that Bitcoin sentiment, right? That's what I'm thinking here. And so let's see what happens with Bitcoin. But, you know, it is a little bit behind it. So I think, you know, if Bitcoin does reverse, then Ethereum will follow it, right? Maybe even more aggressively to the upside. We're sitting at about $70 under 3K. I think getting back above 3,000 is going to be important, that threshold here. So, you know, and you can see right there where that resistance kind of came in, right below 3K, and it went to 327. So 3,000, getting above that and having continuation is going to be big for momentum there. And then taking a look at the 4 hour is going to look very similar, like I said, to Bitcoin. That's a little bit behind here though. Bitcoin had a lot, like about 3 or 4 MACD candles that look strong. So that could be a good thing, right? If things do have a continuation to the upside, this could be a strong chart for Ethereum, the 4 hour. So let's kind of wait and see how the sentiment goes for those two giants, Bitcoin and Ethereum, on the daily. It's a little bit worse than what Bitcoin is, but this could easily reverse, like I said, if that sentiment changes. And Bitcoin's going to lead Ethereum right now. It's just the case, right? As we mentioned, some of these alts are selling into Bitcoin, so that's why I think it's a little bit behind it. But that's Bitcoin and Ethereum for you guys. Let's take a look here at Crypto Bubbles, if it loads up for me correctly. All right. So, well, Beat just exited the top 100 as I pulled that up. That's interesting. You can see Mix here. It has been green consistently. And for those that are wondering what's Mix, it's a token on BSC. It's a perps and leverage DEX, but it doesn't get the attention that the other giants do. But this past week, it's been pretty green. Today's having a reversal effect, though. It's down 12% here. You're seeing Pump be down 9%. And then the other large perps DEX, Aster, is down 7.5% there. Stuff that's bounced back though. You see Midnight is up 7%. It took a beating for about a week and a half, but so it's enjoying some pull back to the upside. You see Solana pulling back up 1.3%, XDC pulling back 3.6%. On average, a lot of these majors in the top 100 are pulling back anywhere between 1 and 4 or 5%. So that's kind of what the alt market looks like. It's looking like about 60 to 40%, 60% green, 40% red. Looking at the top 200 here, beat this token right here is up almost 45%, right? So you've seen this thing's been up a lot the past 2 weeks. So congrats to the people in there. Pippin, another meme coin that's based off of AI, is up 4%. It's also been trucking the last month and a half. You see Jasmy, haven't said that name in a while, is up 2.5% here. Zora pulling back 9%. Merlin Chain token pulling back about 9%. Luna Classic pulling back 5.5%. I think there was some delistings, but Kraken decided to keep them. But yeah, so a little similar action in the top 200 as well. Fartcoin, though, being down about 16%, man, definitely took some gut shots, I feel like, here. Sitting at a $272 million market cap, so not like horrible, but it was on a run for a while. So love to see this back into the mid-30s, low 40% range, right? And I think if we do see that, then some of the other memes will pull back up with it as well. But yeah, so that is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the alt markets for you guys. Hopefully that helps. And look, I feel better about things. Maybe it's because there's a lot of people watching right now.
I think that's number one thing. We have 577 people over on X, man. Really appreciate you guys for sure. Let's just kind of yeah, hold on, man. I think is anything news from the trenches related? We didn't really talk about this today, but have you seen anything that's happening over there on Pump Fund or Bonk or anything like that that people could get excited about?
So I have been excited about the USD1 campaigns just because, you know, the leadership at Bonk has tweeted about that, right? And you know, they've mentioned it multiple times, and they said that they're watching these USD1 pairs. They're starting off with some of these USD1 pairs that launched, let's say, a couple months ago, and have developed communities. They're going to start tucking some of those tokens away into a strategic reserve, right? And so looking at some of those older USD1 coins as well, some of these newer ones, like you mentioned, the MAGA token, it's the first MAGA token that's been launched paired with USD1. I think that's significant. Then you got some crazy stuff like this one's called Weaponized Fent Machine. And there's crazy tokens that are, these are like hardcore meme tokens, right? Name-wise, and they're paired with USD1, right? So if you form a strong community, then the leadership over there is going to pay attention to it, right? So I think people are kind of looking at that that section. Now, about a week and a half before, what was it called? A Breakpoint? Is that the Solana convention in Abu Dhabi? I feel like the USD1 pairs had there was some aggressive push-up, right? Now, since the conference, it's slowed down a bit, and so I do expect, though, you know, with the news today that we talked about with, you know, WLFI tokens being a reward, that it's going to pick back up, right? Because they want the adoption of USD1. So that's what I'm looking at right now. But with Fartcoin kind of being pulled back about 16%, I feel like the memes in Solana right now are just kind of chilling right now, right? They're not like aggressive to the upside. So I do really think Fartcoin's an indicator, especially for the memes over there. Yeah, so that's what I got.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and you talked about Breakpoint, and kind of reminded me of the tweet from Rand, right? So he said, I just returned from Solana Breakpoint, and after speaking directly with people who are actually building, funding, and shaping this industry, one thing is clear: smart money is positioning themselves aggressively for 2026. While X is still stuck in fear and hesitation, what I saw on the ground was very different. Institutional adoption is accelerating, on-chain activity is real, builders are shipping, capital is moving. So one thing I don't agree with is builders are shipping, because I'm not seeing anything when it comes to builders are shipping. I'm not seeing any new projects, anything fun popping up on my radar. Are you?
So, you know, when he's there at the conference, you got to remember that, like, you know, he's boots on the ground type of, like, he sees these booths, he sees these brands pushing things and stuff. And crypto Twitter is very much this entire year been in tune with like what's happening in the meme sector, right? Utilities actually taken, which is weird to me, unless you're a large utility project that has a lot of capital going into the token, you're being ignored for the most part, right? And I would think if memes are going to be hurting, then utility would thrive, right? So that's why I kind of sometimes look back to like, this is more of a systematic issue, because it's, we've had cycles to where utility thrives strong, and then memes will have their moments and NFTs will. And that's another thing too. Like people say like, oh, what if we already had a 4-year cycle? Like there was no NFT run. You know what I mean? There was no NFT run at all. Like that's a part of it, right? I think since the last cycle, you have to include NFTs to be a part of a 4-year cycle. And so, anyways, with that being said, I do think that there's projects that aren't being blasted out there right now. The stuff that comes through feeds right now are these KOLs, love them or hate them. They dominate crypto Twitter in a way that like is almost a little bit unhealthy, because it's a lot of joking and non-seriousness, and I like to have fun. Like that's one of the problems I think with our space right now, is that people aren't having fun. But some of these KOL accounts, man, they're just like there's no seriousness to them, right? And so I think that's where we are. And I think, but there's a big concentrated effort by Solana to have serious projects, and I actually think Pump Fund's doing this. They're looking for projects like Pyro, for example. I mentioned we're working with them because they're trying to promote streamers. They just migrated using migrate.fund from Believe to Pump, because Pump wants projects like that. So I think the meme coins, this is one of my reasons also that I think like Bonk is going to kind of take over a little bit of that sector with the USD1 push, which is good because it's like there's an objective behind the meme push with that adoption of USD1. And then I think Pump comes in here and starts to like really push real world stuff and stuff like that. We'll see though. Actions are louder than words.
Pump Fund has a lot of money. Do you ever see USD Pump one day? USDP? Because it could work for them the same way USD1 is working for Bonk.
I wouldn't count it out. I mean, it's a revenue stream, and let's be real. Like, love him or hate him, Elon is he's a smart guy. You know what I mean? Like he created the most used platform of 2024. Yeah, and competing with Hyperliquid probably in 2025, but probably still the top, right? For the most part. There was times where Bonk.Fund took the lead, but you get what I'm saying. So I wouldn't be shocked if he was to create some sort of stable coin product down the line, especially that they're going more serious in the next probably like 6 months to 12 months of utility projects. And I think that comes down from the leadership too. Like, Totally probably doesn't want Solana to always be known as this like complete 24/7 degenerate joke zone, even if they are pulling in the most volume.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Just letting you guys know, we are streaming over on pump.fund right now. So we're getting some questions about if we are live. Yes, we are live over there. So shout out to you guys, man. I know you guys are just pumping and dumping the token, but I still like it anyway. So just be careful if you guys are buying it. They pumped it to 45K. Really appreciate it. It definitely helps the show. But just be careful if you're buying that token. But absolutely love you guys, man. Pump Fun. And I hope they do get USD Pump. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's probably down the line, right? I think right now what they're probably trying to establish is, how can we? Because if you look at it, the long game, if they are like a place where legitimate businesses that are generating revenue come to start, I mean, like the success, the ceiling of success is like you can't see it. It's so high, right? Because I feel like now, billion-dollar companies could theoretically start there, right? So if they get the right support and the kind of right kickoff in the future, it could reminisce about like how Pump was just a meme launch pad, but then now it's like this very seriously taken platform that has launched successful projects. We'll see. So again, proof is in the pudding. We got to see some successful companies first. And I think it's pretty cool. We are working with one that is over there, and they have a business model that benefits us, where they connect us with advertisers through Pump streams. So, shout out to Pyro. And if you're interested in doing some sort of like business mechanism, you might want to launch on Pump. Maybe just consider it. This is not, advice or anything for you guys, but maybe take a look at it.
100%. All right. We got Blazing Bandit in the house. My guy, appreciate you. Says, what's up, Yagobi chat? Appreciate y'all. Super fan is here. Marcelo is here again. I appreciate all you guys. MOICP, 100%. Appreciate every single one of you guys, man. Absolutely amazing stream today. 712 people. Absolutely awesome. Really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely, guys. Without you guys, we could not do this show. We always remind you because we're so grateful. I mean, there's ups and downs for sure. In 2025 has had a lot more downs than ups, but you guys showing up and participating in the chat and just supporting us every way possible, it means so much to us because support is huge, whether it's monetary, because this is what we do full time and we roll the dice to do that. And we got to, we got to use avenues like pump streams and these things to be able to make it through, the bear market. But it's worth it because you guys show up, every day just like we do. And we're very thankful for that. But also our partners help us do that as well. They help us continue on as they help kind of support the show. Emblem Vault is the interoperability layer of the Bitcoin ecosystem. If you're looking to jump your Bitcoin ordinals or NFTs over to Ethereum, you got to use Emblem Vault. They've been doing it since 2021. You can jump your, Rare Pepes, Nakamoto cards, Taproot Wizards ordinal collection. Actually, right now, you can take a loan out against those on the Gandhi application on ETH. So make sure you guys are using Emblem Vault. They are the experts in this. And also, they're going to open this up for other layers and ecosystems, Solana being one of them, as well as HBAR, BSC, all those popular ones. Speaking of Solana, they have the best AI product there in agenthustle.ai. You can use Agent Hustle for Solana, HBAR, BSC, other EVM layers coming very soon. But you can ask Hustle, hey, find me some low cap gems in these environments. He'll bring back a couple options of tokens for you and reasons why he thinks that they're solid. And also you can use Hustle for buy and sell limit orders, as there's a trading engine built in Hustle. So you want to take advantage of that for sure. But a lot of things you can use with Hustle. There's a free subscription level for you to try it out with limited prompts. But if you want that edge, you got to use the paid subscription levels. You can actually use the Hustle token, which is the single token that powers the Emblem ecosystem. You get a 30% discount if you use the Hustle token as well. But yeah, so there's one more product in their ecosystem. It's called migrate.fund. I hit on it earlier. If you launched a token on Pump or Bonk or any launchpad in Solana and you want to migrate to another launchpad or to your own LPs on Meteora or an LP provider, you got to use migrate.fund. They're currently in their Pump cohort right now, and they are migrating teams over. So if you want to check it out, go to migrate.fund. Of course, you got to get your community on board, but you can reach out to the team through migrate.fund and ask any questions you have. They'll walk you through the process. And then head over to emblem.vision to learn about all the products I just broke down for you guys. And then Merlin Chain is uniting Bitcoin's strength through the power of AI. They have their wizard version 2.0 that can guide you through Merlin Chain's ecosystem, but it also can guide you through other ecosystems. It can swap for Solana tokens or BSC tokens. All you got to do is have some Merlin Chain Bitcoin in your Merlin Chain wallet. And speaking of Merlin Chain's ecosystem, it can swap for you, it can stake for you. And speaking of staking, they have a proof of stake security model for Merlin Chain, and you can participate in 3 ways. The first way is to stake Bitcoin and earn more Bitcoin. Their first staking vault ended September 30th, and they got 17% APR for their stakers there. That's amazing APR for staking Bitcoin. And like I said, you get paid in Bitcoin. So it's really awesome there. Their current staking vault ends January 8th. You can still get in. You'll earn on a couple more, I think probably like 2 weeks worth of staking, or maybe 3 weeks. But they'll have another staking vault open up for the Bitcoin staking as well. And then 2 ways to stake the Merlin Chain token. The first way is the flexible day-to-day staking vault, and you earn 15% APR that way. You can claim your rewards daily, roll them up in a compound interest strategy, sell them, keep them in your wallet, whatever you want to do. If you do want to withdraw your Merlin Chain tokens, there's a 7-day cooldown period, so just know that. And then the last option is the bonded option, which is a 45% APR, and it's a 6-month lockup, and that's why you get the 45% APR. Cool thing about this one, though, is you can claim your rewards daily as well. You can do whatever you want with those, roll them up, compound interest, keep them, sell them, whatever you want to do. But yeah, make sure you visit merlinchain.io to see all the products, the staking products and everything. And then you can follow them on X for any updates that they have. This team is crushing it. By the way, they just got added today. Congratulations to Merlin and their team, Jeff and his team, as they are live with Coinbase perps. And shout out to Ryan Boylan, as he is a Merlin holder as well. But yeah, go to merlinchain.io to learn more there. And then our last partner, which is our newest partner, is satsman.fun, which is the fun runes launchpad for Bitcoin Layer 1. They do leverage ICP tech stack, as ICP has their own Bitcoin node to make this possible. So it makes it fast for you guys to be able to trade Bitcoin runes, right? They the leading rune right now, so there's 3 Genesis runes that they just kicked off, the team launched. It's going to open up after these 3 runes have kind of gone through their process to have anybody launch runes there. But the 7Z is the leader right now. But don't forget, there's also Land Wolf, which is a very popular, I think it was, what's his name? Matt Rule, not Matt Rule. So it's the Pepe artist, right? Yeah. So the Land Wolf is a part of that. A lot of attention on that one as well, and all in BTC. So make sure you check that out, as these are the first 3 Genesis runes. And then I'm gonna be co-hosting a Spaces later with Ordinal Hive, and there's gonna be people from the satsman.fun team there. So if you have any questions, you can ask. I'm super excited about this. There needs to be some fun on Bitcoin Layer 1, and I think they're gonna bring it. But we appreciate you checking out our partners.
Yep. Great job, man. If you guys have a few more minutes and wouldn't mind checking out onchainrevolution.io, we have some of the best articles dating all the way back to 2023. If you know someone just entering the space, please send them our website. We're really filling it up and get started and code up to where we are today. New article just landed, Merlin Chain. You can learn all about the Merlin token and everything you need to know about potentially what Coinbase could be listing. Normally what happens is you get listed on the perps side first, and then 90% of the tokens are eventually listed on Coinbase. This is a big opportunity for anybody who wants to get in early to something truly special. On top of that, we got a NordVPN. I highly recommend VPNs, guys. Use our link here. You get a 70% off coupon when using NordVPN link. $2.99 a month. Do not pay $11.59. Lock it in, set it, forget it. 2 years later, you have to pay another $70. $70, you get 27 months. You cannot beat this deal. This will allow you to do stuff like Hyperliquid and MEXC. I use MEXC every single day because I have a VPN, not non-KYC, but it is the #1 bridging tool that I use. I get in, do my business, and get out. Very similar to our public restroom. They definitely highly recommend this VPN. If you guys need hardware wallets, we have an affiliate link with Ledger. Come to our website, click the Ledger link. You guys can get yourself a Christmas present of your brand new Ledger right now. You get it for $74. You cannot beat this deal. I personally love the Ledger Nano X. Highly recommend this one. I got this for like $130, so you're getting it for way cheaper than what I paid a couple years ago. So shout out to you guys, man, getting that deal. But check out everything here at onchainrevolution.io. And remember, guys, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. And until tomorrow,
peace.
OnChain revolution roll call. Market recap. You not bullish enough. No. You're not bullish enough. No. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed, gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and marching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction.